Soft orchestral music with visuals of global icons, world leaders, and crowds of youth cheering. Cut to images of Amitabh Bachchan and Captain Ibrahim Traoré. What happens when the voice of generations speaks directly to the leader of a new one? What happens when wisdom earned through the passage of time, fame, and failure reaches across borders not to praise, but to guide? Today, we bring you something rare, something deeply moving, a letter, not just ink on paper, but a legacy speaking to a revolution, a message from one of India's greatest icons, Amitabh Bachchan to Captain Ibrahim Traoré, the rising symbol of courage and transformation in Africa. This letter was not written for applause. It was written with intention, with purpose. And today, you'll hear every word. Quiet desert breeze. Image of Captain Traoré with youth in Burkina Faso. In his letter, Amitabh writes, "Dear Captain Ibrahim Traoré, warm greetings from India. I hope this letter finds you in strong health, steady purpose, and renewed spirit." He continues not with the grandeur of celebrity but with something more powerful, gratitude. Permit me to begin not with a grand declaration, but with something simple, gratitude. Gratitude for your courage, gratitude for your presence, and most of all gratitude for your decision to rise, when it would have been easier to remain seated. Archival footage of Amitabh Bachchan's younger years. Then switch to Captain Ibrahim Traoré walking among Burkina citizens. The letter is not written by a superstar. It's written by a man who has known rejection, isolation, and triumph. I write to you not as an actor, not as a celebrity whose face flickers on screens, but as a man who has walked through the many fires of failure, fame, and time, and as someone who now watches the horizon and sees, among its shadows, a young man in uniform standing tall, not with pride and power, but with devotion to people. That man is you, Captain Ibrahim Traoré. African youth cheering at a rally. A map lights up showing global interest in Captain Ibrahim Traoré. Amitabh Bachchan, whose name echoes through film history, now shines a spotlight on a name reverberating through Africa and beyond. Your name has reached distant corners of the world, not because of what you have seized, but because of what you have stood for. The actor reflects on how Captain Ibrahim Traoré has reawakened a long-dormant belief that leadership can still be born of service, not self-interest. Captain Ibrahim Traoré in uniform among citizens, not in palaces but in villages. You stand at a place where history watches closely and whispers, will he endure? And I believe deep in my heart the answer is yes. Because you were not born in a palace, but among people. Your dreams were not carved in the stone halls of privilege, but in soil, in sacrifice, in silence. Amitabh Bachchan during his early struggles in black and white. Newspaper clippings. Studio doors closed. The letter then becomes intimate. A confession from a global icon to a young revolutionary. I know something of silence. In my own early years, I knew rejection like an old companion. Studio gates remained closed to me. My deep, heavy voice was once considered unfit for radio. My face forgettable. And yet, I held on to a single thought. As a drowning man clutches driftwood, there must be something more. Parallel visuals of young Amitabh and young Ibrahim walking difficult paths. That something more is what he sees in Ibrahim. The hunger, the humility, the hope. This, Ibrahim, is the mark of a man not merely chosen by history, but sculpted by it. Your youth is not your burden, it is your weapon. Never let them tell you otherwise. Montage of youth-led revolutions and breakthroughs in history. The world has always tried to define power by age, by title, by inheritance. But time and again it is the young, the daring, the dreamers, who redraw the maps of destiny. And Captain Ibrahim Traoré, says Amitabh, is redrawing one right now. Slow, thoughtful music. Visual of Captain Ibrahim Traoré facing a crowd. Then, sudden shift to images of tension, protests, challenges, economic hardship. But fame brings weight, and leadership brings storms. Amitabh warns gently, as one who knows, the path you walk is steep, and I would be dishonest if I did not tell you it will only get steeper. There will be days when you feel surrounded, days when betrayal wears familiar faces, days when your own people, weary from hardship, lose patience, not from malice but from pain. Captain Ibrahim Traoré sitting alone in thought. Silent footage of him helping farmers, soldiers, children. But in those moments, says Amitabh, return. Return to the boy who dared to whisper, there must be another way. Return to him. He is your compass. Traditional Indian music blends softly. Visual of Indian culture, trees in bloom, a humble village. Then, the actor offers a jewel from his culture. In India, we have a proverb, a tree laden with fruit bows low. In other words, true greatness is humble. And that, he says, is what he sees in Captain Ibrahim Traoré. I do not know your entire story, but I know this. A man does not rise as you have unless he has first knelt before something greater than himself, be it faith, or duty, or love for his people. Emotional music. Footage of Captain Ibrahim Traoré holding hands with elders, hugging children, listening to citizens. Your people will not always understand every decision you make. That is the truth of leadership, but they will understand your heart. And as long as you speak from that place of truth, you will never truly be alone. Sun rising over the Sahel. Images of Amitabh and Captain Ibrahim Traoré fade into a single silhouette of a tree, standing tall in the wind. One man's voice shaped generations on screen. Another is shaping a generation in real life. When their paths cross not in fame, but in spirit, we witness something rare. A letter, a lesson, and a legacy passed forward. From the elder who stood before the world, to the young man now standing for it. This was Amitabh Bachchan's letter to Ibrahim Traoré, and in it, a quiet message to us all. Greatness is not in how high you rise, it's in how deeply you serve. Logo, subscribe button, peaceful outro music. If this story inspired you, share it. Let the world hear the voices that build bridges, not walls. Let me know if you want this as a video script with narration timing, or with visuals broken down shot by shot. There are moments in life that don't arrive with trumpets or applause. They don't shout. They whisper. They come like dust on the wind, subtle and almost invisible. But those quiet moments, they shape us. I remember sitting in dimly lit rooms after the loss of loved ones. I remember standing before audiences that booed me, scripts that failed, friends who faded when the spotlight turned off. And still I pressed on. Not because I knew success would come, but because I believed that meaning would. And today, in you, Ibrahim, I see that same meaning in motion. I see a young man rising, not because of what he wants to take, but because of what he is determined to give. Let me tell you something about the world. It throws stones. It always has, and always will. But cathedrals, my young brother, are built with stones. You can choose to be buried beneath them, or build something immortal. I do not write these words as poetry. I write them as someone who has watched how the world turns, how it celebrates your ascent, and then scrutinizes your survival. But I believe, with all my heart, that you were built not just for the climb, but for the summit. And when you reach it, do not stand there alone. Bring others with you. Empower those who have never stood in the light. Listen to the voices that tremble before they speak. Honor your elders not with words, but with action. Create space where there was none. Build not just monuments but movements. You, Captain Ibrahim Traoré, are a symbol now, and symbols must shine, not for themselves, but for what they represent. You are becoming a chapter in a much older story, a story of a people who have long been underestimated, overlooked, and unheard. Africa is not waiting to be saved. Africa is waiting to be seen, and through you, it is being seen, boldly, brilliantly. Let the world take note, but above all, let you remain unchanged. Guard your heart. Guard your vision. Let advisors come and go. Let applause rise and fall. But never forget who you are. When you close your eyes at night, that man, the one behind the speeches, behind the medals, behind the marches, he is your truest guide. And if ever that man doubts himself, let him remember this: you were not born for comfort. You were not made to fit in. You were created to shift the course of nations. And that is not a destiny everyone can carry. Yet here you are, walking through fire, not to boast, but to blaze a trail. Ibrahim, when the nights feel cold and long, when the weight of leadership presses too heavily against your chest, look up. The same stars that watched over our ancestors still shine above you. And somewhere, across the ocean, in the heart of an aging actor in Mumbai, one of those stars carries a silent prayer. A prayer for your courage. A prayer for your clarity. A prayer for your continuation. I believe in you. Not as an idea, but as a living legacy, a breathing hope, a human reminder that leadership can still look like service, that strength can still wear the face of compassion. When your name is spoken decades from now, may it echo not in fear but in reverence. May schoolchildren learn not just what you did, but why you did it. May elders bless your memory, not just for leading, but for lifting. And may you through all the years and trials ahead, stay true to the child who once asked, "What can I do for my people?" Because that question, that simple, sacred question, has changed the world more than any crown ever could. So, I end this letter not with fanfare, not with flourish, but with one request: keep going, keep dreaming, keep building, keep believing. The world is not just watching, Captain Ibrahim Traoré. The world is hoping. And I, as son of another soil, stand with you, not as an icon, not as a celebrity, but as a fellow human being, whose heart beats with respect, with unshakable admiration, and with the sincerest prayer for your journey ahead, with strength, with love, and with enduring hope. Amitabh Bachchan, Mumbai, India, June 12, 2025. Quiet piano music fades in. Images of Captain Ibrahim Traoré among his people. Young African children studying, elders smiling, and Amitabh Bachchan watching from a quiet balcony. When two generations meet, one formed in the fires of fame, the other in the flames of revolution, something rare is born. Not just a letter, but a legacy passed from one soul to another. Let this story remind us, true greatness is not in how loud you speak, but in how deeply you serve. If this story sparked something in you, hit that like button, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And don't forget to subscribe for more inspiring stories from across the world. By African Lights.